Underleague is a 2 to 6 player card battling game. Each player will start with an identical 30 card deck in the standard mode, and they will have 3 creatures from this deck in front of them at all times. There are various points at which they can change these creatures, but they will always have 3 in front of them, unless they knock them sideways. That is just to show you how they look when they're exhausted, of course. Before you start the battling round, each player will take turns betting on which creature will win or lose their battles. This is important because if you make the right choice, you will get more strategy cards in future rounds. This leads to situations where you might want to throw a fight if you've bet that you will lose a fight and someone else has bet that you will win it. To resolve fights, you're going to roll dice, but the defender gets to choose what time of the day the fight is in, either morning on the left or night on the right. The higher the number, the more dice you get to roll. So here the defender will have an advantage of having extra dice. You also need to check for any relevant powers at this point, of which these creatures at this point have none to use in battle. The game goes until someone scores 20 points, and to help you with your strategy are these strategy cards, which come in a range of flavours. They can be attached to creatures, they can give you special one-off powers, they can give you points, and to play them you will have to discard the amount of cards in the top right hand corner to use those. In the game there is an absolute country mile of cards, but only 40 to 50 unique. Underleague was a bit of a shock for me. I thought I knew what I was getting when I looked at the box, and then I started reading the rules and read about this betting, and you kind of see in these games 2 to 5 players and you think, yeah, 2 players really. But actually Underleague works well at all player counts, and I think the reason is the betting that is within the game, because that betting is so essential to you getting a good amount of cards in your hands next turn. You want to think about it very carefully, to the point that if you've bet, you may even bet on yourself to lose and deliberately throw the fight to get more cards next time. And that's really clever and a real nice twist within the genre. I also like the fact, although you can deck build as well, I like the fact that everyone starts with the same deck of, well, everyone has the same deck of 30 creatures. They're really well thought out. The difference between the day and night values is a real consideration when you're taking a monster into your tableau. In fact, I would say it's a bigger consideration than perhaps some of the powers that are on them, but some of the powers are very good as well. The big deck of strategy cards works really well as well. I would say that's where my kind of biggest complaint about the game comes into effect. There is a lot of cards, and you think, wow, a lot of cards, really good. But there's only, I think, around 49 different ones in that deck of 200 odd cards that you saw stacked up at the end. And I understand why there needs to be that amount of cards in a 5-player game, but I think in a 2-player game it's just an unwieldy stack of cards, and perhaps there is a better solution for that. There may very well be at the back of the book. I don't build decks or pre-construct decks, so I don't get into any of that stuff, so I didn't really examine that part of the rules. But out of the box, I think there could be something that says take just 3 of each card and shuffle them into a strategy deck or something like that. Just because of it's impossible to shuffle that amount of cards well and to handle that bigger deck. That sounds ruder than I intended it to. But I really enjoyed Underleague as a 2-player and more kind of battling game. These types of games are not usually my forte, and of course Underleague has the disadvantage of releasing at a similar time to Keyforge, and Keyforge is one that surprisingly I have really embraced. I do prefer Keyforge ultimately, but I think, like Keyforge, Underleague does enough to separate itself from the rest of the pack to be a really interesting game, and one that could be expanded in a number of interesting ways. The card quality is really good, the chips are plastic, and it all just works together as a game. So, how is the rulebook? The rulebook is Better than average, although I had a few small niggles with some of the wording, ordering, but that is just me being picky. I read a lot of rule books, so for it to be excellent, it needs to really stand out. And it didn't hit those heights, but it explained the concepts in a clear enough way with a few minor niggles. The intimidation factor, it appears to be bigger than it is with the amount of cards in the box, because you have 5 30-card decks of your creatures, then you have the mass off 200 and odd cards, but remember, of those 200 cards, there's only about 40 to 50 unique cards. I think I'm getting that right, please check in the rule book. So again, it's not that huge, and once you've played a hand or two back and forth, you're going to be familiar with the way the powers work in this game. So yeah, it's there a little bit, but the intimidation is more than it actually is. It presents itself as bigger than it actually is. Fun factor, I had fun playing this game. I had more fun than playing some of the other 2-player card or dice games where you're battling the other person, and I like the fact that this scales well because of the betting system. Is it going into my collection? It just misses out on my collection, and the one-word answer for why is Keyforge. If I didn't have anything else like this in my collection, I would definitely keep Underleague, but I have Keyforge, and that is more than satisfying me in that arena at the moment. Would I recommend it to other people? Yes, I would. Would I play it again? Absolutely. I think the difference, again, I'm just talking about the difference, but it really makes the difference. Thanks, scriptwriter. Yeah, script. Good one. But Underleague, yes, so a solid battling game for those who are looking for something a bit different, want to throw in the extra strategy and tactics of betting and bluffing. Do you put one out and to say you're going to win, but actually you want to lose? But do you cost the other person cards in the way they've bet? All sorts of things, good things going on in there. That is Underleague. Thanks very much for watching Board Deck and Dice. We will see you next time.